Hello!
Hi,
Welcome to the 2013-14 school year. My name's Elise Maxwell.
and I'm Daniel Glass.
We're project managers for teacher evaluation. Our role is to support you, answer any of your questions, and also listen to feedback throughout the year. Today we're providing you some critical information about the teacher evaluation system for this year. This information would be typically presented in person at a principal meeting, but we've taken it out and put it in webinar format so you can access it at any time.
In this webinar, we'll cover an alignment vision for the district's academic priorities. We'll look at teacher evaluation year at a glance. We'll do a deep dive into the observation model. We'll also look at improvements and revisions to the SOEI and to eCompass. And with that, let's get started. Welcome to the Minneapolis Public Schools Teacher Evaluation Webinar for Principal Summer PD. In today's webinar, we'll be talking about the district's vision for alignment of its academic priorities. We'll look at a year at a glance in teacher evaluation. We'll go over some important revisions to the SOEI rubric. We'll look at improvements to the eCompass observation system. And we'll provide information on changes to the observation model. Section 1 of this webinar is on our academic alignment vision. The alignment vision is rooted in improving student outcomes. Minneapolis will improve outcomes for students when teachers have the tools, space, and support to adjust and improve instructional practice based on student learning needs. This philosophy is embedded in all of the district's priority work. All of our district's priority work is based on a cycle of continuous improvement at various levels. We make a plan. We carry out that plan, we assess how well the plan worked, and we analyze that information in order to inform planning again. The district supports this cycle in a number of ways. We provide tools such as focused instruction tools, teacher evaluation data, SIP strategies, the interventions playbook, and Classroom for Success. We provide time, space, and structure in the forms of professional learning communities, quarterly reviews, instructional leadership teams, observation conferences, staff development, and focus instruction cohorts. And we provide monitoring and accountability in the form of school improvement plans, teacher evaluation, principal and AP evaluation, and district-level performance management. The next section of this webinar is on teacher evaluation year at a glance. Similar to last year, the teacher evaluation process will consist of 3 components: observations, student surveys, and student learning measures which look at academic achievement data. Like last year, all teachers will have 4 observations. Probationary teachers will continue to have 1 full observation every year. Tenured teachers, however, will now be on a 2-year cycle. Half of tenured teachers will have a full observation this year. The other half of tenured teachers will have a focused observation this year. The following year, those teachers will switch. For student surveys, teachers can give surveys during a 3-week window in December. Like last year, there will be 3 different survey bands: a K2 survey, a 3-5 survey, and a 6-12 survey. However, any teacher can choose any level for their class based on what they deem to be the most appropriate survey. Once the survey is closed, teachers will have access to immediate reports on how their students responded. Later in the winter, we will also be sending teachers more detailed reports that contain school and district comparison data. For student learning measures, eligible teachers, which include reading and/or math teachers in K through 8, will receive value-added reports this October. Those reports will be based on 2012-2013 academic data. Teachers will receive an official report as well as a supplemental report that gives additional information on student achievement and proficiency levels. We're also piloting a student learning goal process for the teachers who are not covered by value added. This year, that's a small-scale pilot that will increase in size and scope over the next few years. This is a calendar that walks through important milestones in teacher evaluation from September to May. Please take a moment to look over some of these milestones. This calendar is also available in the Teacher Evaluation Guidebook if you'd like to refer back to it later. One very big difference between this year and last year is the summative report that school administrators will receive in February. This report will include information on observations, value-added information, and student survey results for all of the teachers in your site. These reports will not contain a summative score, but will provide you with valuable information that you can use for staff development. This next section will talk through some revisions to the SOEI rubric and observation process. Domain 1 has had a reduction of elements from 10 to 7. In domains 2, 3, and 4, all elements have been edited for clarity and to ensure clear distinctions between performance levels and different elements. For domain 1, this domain will only be scored during the full observation. The pre-conference form for domain 1 is required for the full observation. This year, the pre-conference form will be editable by both the teacher and the observer. That means that the observer can use the pre-conference guide to take notes during the pre-conference meeting. All content in the pre-conference guide will pre-populate into the Domain 1 evidence collector. Just like the rubric, the pre-conference form has also been reduced from 10 questions to 7 questions. We've also eliminated all of the sub-questions to streamline the pre-conference form process. We've ensured that the questions are directly aligned with the content of the updated SOEI, and we've made the form editable by observers and by teachers. We are also providing clearer instructions about the option to either use the form or use a lesson plan, except in the case of full observations where the form is required. Now we will look at the observation model. Like last year, all teachers have been assigned an initial track. This track represents the sequence of observations for the year. As you can see from this table, second and third year probationary teachers, as well as tenured teachers in both the full and focus cycle, will have some options in terms of their observation track this year. First year teachers will not have any option in terms of their track. All teachers will be assigned an initial track and initial observers. Teachers can choose to select a different track within their cycle if they prefer one of the other options to the track they've been assigned. Teachers can also request a different secondary observer at sites where multiple secondary observers are available. Principals, however, will make final decisions about primary observer assignments. For a full observation, the pre-conference form is a requirement. Teachers fill out this form and can also upload a lesson plan if they choose to into eCompass prior to the pre-conference. The reflection guide is also required. Teachers fill out this guide in eCompass prior to the post-conference. For a full observation, scheduling protocols will vary by site. Pre-conferences should take place no more than 2 days before the observation, while the post-conference should take place no more than 5 days after an observation. Observers will share evidence and performance levels with teachers at the post-conference. They will then finalize scores and next steps, which will be shared with the teacher after the post-conference. For the focus observation, the pre-conference form and/or lesson plan is highly recommended. Teachers will select 4 or more focus elements in eCompass prior to the pre-conference. The reflection guide is required for the focused observation. Teachers will fill this out in eCompass before the post-conference. The focused observation steps are very similar to the full observation steps. The only difference is that the observer will only assign performance levels to the focused elements that the teacher selected before the pre-conference. For a short observation, there are no requirements for the teacher. Short observations are not scheduled ahead of time. The observer will connect with the teacher to schedule a brief post-conference following the short observation. Just like with the full and focused observations, the post-conference should take place no more than 5 days after an observation, and at the post-conference, the observer will share evidence and performance levels, and then they will share their finalized scores and next steps after the post-conference.
We will now move into Section 6, Track and Observer Assignments. All teachers were assigned tracks using the following criteria. First-year probationary teachers were placed in Track 1. Second and third-year probationary teachers were evenly split between Tracks 2 and 3. Fourth-year teachers were placed in a full cycle and were evenly split between Tracks 5 and 6. Teachers who were in Tracks 8 and 9 last year were evenly split between Tracks 8 and 9. This is because they received a full observation towards the end of last year, and so we placed them in a focused cycle. Half of tenured teachers were split between Tracks 5 and 6, a focus cycle, and the other half of tenured teachers were split between Tracks 8 and 9, a focus cycle. I know this is a lot. Please let us know if you have questions. Please take a moment to review your track assignments. All teachers were assigned tracks, and these tracks are located in a folder on the Principal Connection. Each school has a file within the folder that you will find on the Principal Connection. Open up the folder and select your school. When you open up your school's file, you can see that there are 2 tabs, a Northrop roster or a roster tab, and a track overview. I happen to open up Northrop School. In the Northrop roster, you can see that there's the site name, the employee ID, the teacher's name, the teacher's position, and then the track. So tracks have been assigned, and as you can see, they're color-coded. The blue are for probationary teachers. Purple are for teachers that are in a full cycle, and the salmon color is for teachers that are in a focus cycle. This allows you to easily see which of your teachers are in a full and focus cycle and which of your teachers are probationary. The last 2 columns are the primary observer and secondary observer columns. These columns are blank, and you will need to fill these out. The second tab is the Track Overview tab. This tab is just a reference for you that allows you to look at what observations are required for each of the tracks. So here I can see that any teacher that is in Track 1 will receive a focused observation during round 1, a full observation during round 2, a short observation by the secondary observer during round 3, and a short observation by a primary observer during round 4. As you can see by looking down the round 4 column, there are very few tracks that have a full observation at the end of the year. If you look at the round 1 column, there are very few tracks that have a full observation during the first round. These adjustments were made based on feedback we received from last year. This year, teachers will have some flexibility within their track assignments. During opening week PD, teachers will have the opportunity to change to a different track within their cycle. However, they will not be able to change their cycle. For example, if a teacher was placed in a focus cycle, they cannot select a track in a full cycle. Teachers can connect with principals if they would like a different secondary observer at their site. Principals, however, determine all primary observer assignments. Thank you so much for viewing this webinar. We are excited for a fantastic year, and together we will improve outcomes for all MPS students. Please do not hesitate to email or call us if you have any questions.